live any second. Well, we should be live now, and we'll find out about it in about 7 seconds. So, welcome everyone.
That's
Who is there? No random Dave this evening. Probably Sparkle for about an hour, and then myself and Scott to take you through a fuck ton of news this month. For summer, this is a bumper month, something like 88 emails, some duplicates obviously, but we'll try and get through as many as we can.
That's a kind of a busy summer there, Mike.
It's busy for any time of year, but particularly summer when it tends to be a bit quieter, yeah. So everyone seems to have knocked it out the ballpark this month, so thank you for that. What have we been up to? Where's my notes gone? Why have my notes not opened? Where would my notes be? Talk amongst yourselves while I just find them. There we go. I don't know why that didn't open with everything else, but
Personally, I was just enjoying you floundering, but you know.
yeah. So since we last did this, the Computer Museum is in a big mill near me, as you know, and the mill had an open day, so all of the businesses in there, all of the little artist studios, everyone in there sort of opened the doors, and they had like artisan markets in the corridors and stuff, so big day there, tons and tons of people through the museum doors, some who'd never been before, some who'd never even heard of it, just generally, exploring the mill and discovered this place and rekindled old memories and stuff, so that was good. I stayed obviously for the day, helped out doing various bits and bats. As you can see from my video feed, my microphone sort of stand, it used to come down on an arm and be in front of my face. It's now less so. I bought a new one, just sort of desk mounted on a boom. I do need a different microphone. This one's a bit too directional, so I have to be sort of talking right down it. And if I move away slightly, it goes very quiet, as you can see and hear. So I've got the new stand, just need to change the microphone for something less directional. What else has been going on? So Smoke and Mirrors, the book, as you know, or may know, was part of a Humble bundle. Wow, it must be a couple of years ago now, maybe even longer than that with how time flies. But shortly they're doing kind of a best of previous bundles, and they've asked me if they can use Smoke and Mirrors as part of that. So I said, of course you can. So
now, are we doing that as an ebook, I assume?
yes, it'll be an ebook. So I send them a load of info about me, about the book, and obviously electronic copies of the book. So if you are a member of Humble Bundle, or you fancy some books along a theme, you can get it as part of a bundle. Get a few different books in one go. Where it's kind of a deal where you can name your own amount and that kind of thing. So I shall let you know through the appropriate channels when it's launched. I'm not sure on the time frame, but they asked me a couple of weeks ago and I said yes, so I'm not sure what their turnaround time is. But movies wise, so I watched a couple of old ones, some video game ones.
Real quick, since we're talking about the book and RGR projects and such, are we able to mention that that other project you texted me about, or is that still like super under wraps?
It's not super under wraps. I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not, but I've been trying to get somebody to make Marvin Milk, the video game that we've talked about before on the show.
Now, to recap for our listeners, because this is a great story. It's one of those super organic things that comes out of the show that kind of like when Mike, remember, like, we were sitting there in that suite in Vegas after the show, and the year where the CDs were stolen. And we had that giant bottle of fucking whiskey. And we had the hot tub going, and our feet soaking in that. We were bullshitting. And remember, like, we were just, like, that son of a bitch. Because we were looking for him. And we're like, God damn it, that bastard slipped out. Fuck it. All right. You know what? That'd make kind of a cool 8-bit game, wouldn't it? And next thing you know, we got a cartridge, right? So this is one of those things because I always say we never quite know where the next thing is coming from. I mean, who could have predicted a game, a book, an expo? We couldn't have. I mean, I don't know about you, Mike, but I don't think we planned a lot of that shit, Mark. I mean, not in the plans, just kind of occurred, But yeah, I was sitting there with we were doing the I think it was the top 10 about Dizzy. And, my argument, of course, is it's a stupid thing because an egg is fragile, immobile. It's just, if you want to pick, you could do better with a potato because it might actually slowly grow sprouts, The egg is just going to sit there until it finally, I guess, dries up. But I was like, look, man, if you're going to have a food product, you want something that's malleable, that's action-oriented. So I came up with the concept of Marvin Milk. And then immediately, the rest of the boys jumped on it. We started riffing and coming up with good ideas. And my premise for it, because I've always tried to, I had this like little idea in my head of what this thing might look like, right? And the way I see it is you've got this, think of like a Sega Genesis platformer. Maybe some elements of Jurassic Park, maybe a little Herzog Zwei, just various, RTS mixed up, platformer kind of shit. And, you're running around as this character. Now, of course, he has different states he can be in. So let's say that, they're going to machine gun him. Because I picture, like, these enemies, for some reason it's crows. I don't know why. But they have, like, machine guns. And they're trying to machine gun Marvin Milk, right? So as he's running, like, you can hit a button and he does a state change. So I figure kind of like he can go from cheese to milk to powder. So, I picture maybe like a level of fans where he can, hit a button and the fan blows him across the gap and he reconstitutes as a solid, but if he reconstitutes as a liquid, he just falls off the platform. But, let's say he comes up to a door, he can turn into milk and flow into the door. So I'm curious. The reason I asked Mike if we could discuss this, I want to pick our listeners' brains as well as ours. I know that I've seen a gameplay mechanic at some point in my life that has a state change, like where you go from one type of material to another, or certainly there's Transformers, Robotech, things where you're changing robots. But I kind of recall something at some point where there's some kind of state change, but I don't think ever like that. So if any of you listeners out there, recall anything like that, or my co-host here, it'd be kind of neat to hear about it. But yeah, I think that Marvin Milk could actually be kind of a ridiculous superhero. So we shall see. I'm optimistic,
Yeah. You might be mixing up your CGE years because I wasn't there when the CDs were stolen. That was 2010.
Didn't I say there was a large bottle of whiskey?
yeah. That might have something to do with it.
Damn right, I mixed up those years.
Yeah, the CDs went in 2010, and I was there. First time I went was 2012. But yeah, I'm fucking about with the audio a bit, but just trying to find levels. This desk might be getting slung out again after this.
Well, you sound good on the air.
Okay, you have a bit of a crackle, so I don't know if it's a range or you got to keep still again like previously, but we'll figure it out as we go. So yeah, I watched a couple of old movies. So if I go to the museum on a Wednesday evening, just fixing stuff, tidying up the place, maybe swapping some of the exhibits, that kind of thing. And they've got a big screen or there's a projector next to it, so I'll use one or the other to, put some old Games Master shows on or put some old movies on while we're in there. So I've watched a few old ones that are worth a revisit or a visit if you've never seen them. Get Lamp, which is a documentary about text adventures. Micro Men, of course, always a favourite. Pirates of Silicon Valley, which is kind of going back to the early days of Microsoft and Apple and that kind of rivalry, worth a watch. And I watched a movie that Scott mentioned last month or the month before, Reign of Fire, which is about when...
Ooh, how did you find it?
I thought it was okay. It was kind of bubblegum disaster movie type thing. You know, you can watch it and kind
For
of
sure, it's dragons.
yeah. Interesting premise. You know, dragons becoming the dominant life form on the planet. You know,
But
like
being purely biological, not magical.
yes, yeah, the chemical reaction that occurs to create the flames and what have you. Interesting premise. Like any disaster movie, you know, some of it's a bit cheesy. They're going to save the world at the end with one final, you know, shot or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. I think it's better than the reviews it gets, certainly. TV shows.
It's a great popcorn movie, isn't it?
It's what?
A great popcorn movie.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely worth a watch. Good time waster. TV shows, I mentioned I was rewatching My Name is Earl. Got through that a few weeks ago. There's a show that's on Netflix. You'll be able to find it elsewhere called Norsemen, which is, as the name would suggest, about Vikings. So there's a show called Vikings, which is uber serious, you know, like Game of Thrones type thing. Norsemen is a comedy version of that. That's well worth a watch. 3 seasons, you know, 6 in each, half-hour episodes. You can burn through it. Season 1 and 2 are great, and then season 3, you think, wait, what happened? But like, have I gone back? And season 3 is a prequel to 1 and 2, so bear that in mind. It might even make sense to watch them out of order. But yeah, good show, funny, some good gags in there. I finished the latest season of Black Mirror, which I thought was good. There was a couple of really odd ones, as there always is in that, but a couple of really interesting ones as well. So well worth catching up with Black Mirror. I picked up a DVD called In Car Manx Rally 1983. It features Ari Vatanen and his co-driver with a camera mounted just behind them, driving through stages of the Isle of Man Rally. And if you're familiar with it, it's the one where they clip the wall. No more spoilers, but that bit is on YouTube. If you just go on YouTube and look for Ari Vatanen or Manx Rally 1983, you'll find the clip. It's funny.
What group were they running? Do you remember?
It's before the Group Bs, so it's... Oh, what car is he in? I think he's in a...
So not the killer car.
No, not the killer cars. It predates that.
God, what I wouldn't give to own a Group B.
Yeah, oh yeah. Fantastic.
Oh. Oh.
And, of course, Clarkson's Farm. If you haven't watched that yet, get on it and catch up with that. Games-wise, let's bring it round to some games. I've been playing a bit of Lemmings again recently. I interviewed Signosis at Zap a couple of months ago. You will hear that in this show, I think. So that got me kind of back into Lemmings again. And I always go and fire up one of the machines at the museum, play a bit of Lemmings. But I've been trying a few different versions of it. Just going back through some of those levels again. Always a great game. I picked up for free Tomb Raider 1 to 3, the remaster on PC. So I have Amazon Prime, and Prime Gaming give you either free games or game codes every month, and one of the codes this month, well, I don't know if it runs for a month or a couple of weeks or whatever, but one of the codes was for Tomb Raider 1 to 3, and you go and put that code into Good Old Games and download it. So, and the good thing about Good Old Games is you download a DRM free version and you can keep the installer. It doesn't need to phone home. So pick that up for free. I put it on the Steam Deck. Not everything on Good Old Games will run on the Steam Deck, but I got it running on there. Only played through a little bit of it so far, but just kind of flicking between the versions, you know, the original graphics and the updated graphics. So looking forward to going through some more of that. During the open day, and we were talking about this in Discord, ironically, last week I think it was, but I was setting up something in the museum with an Atari 7800 and found a cartridge for Joust, so we were playing a ton of Joust the other week. It's a great version. It's a great game, and particularly two-player, and that is a particularly good version, certainly for the age of it. And Friday just gone, So also in the mill is, well, there's a micro pub, and across the corridor from that is a tabletop gaming club. So I went in there on Friday, and there's about 13, 14 of us, something like that, played a relatively new game called Blood on the Clock Tower, which it's a social kind of deduction game. It's set in a village, and you have a good team and a bad team, but you don't know who anyone is. You only know your own character, and you've got to try and work out who people are. And you play night rounds where some of the characters do certain things at night, like the evil ones choose someone to kill. And then in the daytime, you've got to execute someone, and you've got to discuss and find out, did someone give something away, and kind of reveal the character. So, interesting game. If you played Werewolf, it's a similar premise, but way more complex, because Werewolf has only a handful of different characters. There are later versions, like Ultimate Werewolf and all that, where they throw loads in. Blood on the Clock Tower just takes that all up to 11. It's first game, it's just so confusing and just too many characters, to get your head around. I think it's probably, for my taste, probably too many characters. I prefer the simplicity of Werewolf, but interesting games, those social deduction games. If you jump on YouTube and search for Ultimate Werewolf or something like that, you'll find a video of a group of people playing it, and you'll get the gist of it. Also, for Blood on the Clock Tower, there's videos of people playing that too. Fun game, fun evening though, just hanging about in the gaming club, just playing a new game like that. It was good. So that, I think, is just about me for the month.
Well, I didn't get crap done compared to that, man. No, this month is a bad month for me. This is one of the few times over the many years we've done the show where I got to miss a hardware flashback because I haven't been home to get the work done on the robot to have something to report. The whole month just ran away. I had just tons of travel, horrible work schedule. So basically it was work, nap, get on the bike, go, come home, nap, go to work. It was the worst conglomeration of all things, but I got a couple of things done. I did pick up Death Stranding 2, and so I tell you, it's Modern Gaming Roundup, of course, but if you go to our Discord, we got some discussions about that stuff going there. We do talk about modern gaming there as well as classic gaming, but it's good. It's very much a repeat of number one in the sense that they kept the things that worked. They made it familiar. It has a super long intro. There's all sorts of weird shit, and they do give you access to some of the critical tools a little bit sooner. Like you start with a gun. You don't have to play it for a month before you have a gun. You can get a vehicle in the first 2 hours. So I'm literally only 2 hours in. I got to like the first city, and that's I won't have a chance to touch it until into next week. So looking forward to it because it looks to be very worthy of the original. When I say it's a repeat of the original, I mean that it's a different map. It's the graphics are. I was honestly like, wow, they can do that on a PS5. That was my takeaway. That's how good it was. So that was epic, man. But other than that, just rolling around the country, man. We went down to Florida. My motorcycle club, we had our every year we have a national convention, sort of, where unless you are dead or deployed, you are going to go there. And so just, a couple hundred of us all gathered in one place, and it's just a balls out fucking, because we ride as a pack. Look, we're side by side, one bike length apart, and there might be, 250 of us going down the road together. So we ride fast, we ride hard. So it's just, white knuckling it for 14 hours. Go to the hotel, take a nap, get up, white knuckle it for 8 more hours, and then you're in Florida. So great time. We had one of the brothers went so hard in the pugil sticks, he ended up because we do like boxing, pugil sticks, all your combat sports, and he got fucking wanged so hard he ended up with a heart attack. So dude set the fucking bar high at that party. He had a heart attack. So just a hell of a week. And then I get back, get off the bike, and the next day I'm back at work, and it's like, oh, hey, Tim, how you doing? Let's go ahead and do those reports. And
Hey, I
we looked at the
listening, they might not have heard. So I watched the video that you sent. Absolutely fucking nuts. So you can you just like elaborate more on how this fella, like how old is this guy? Like, so if you guys ever saw the show American Gladiators, imagine kind of like in a, it looks like a kind of white trash back.
Sorry, you got staticked out.
I hear the
Static on the field. Static on the field.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
One sec. I'm just going to mess about with something.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So,
Everybody hit pause. Mike.
How's that? Can you hear me?
Mike, can you hear us?
Mike.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Please continue. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So you guys remember American Gladiators? It was a popular TV show when I was a little kid. It went on for a couple seasons. Actually, there's an interesting documentary about it on Netflix that I recommend checking out. But anyway, so Scott sends this video in our WhatsApp chat, and it's like kind of like a sort of like when I was a kid, we used to play American Gladiators in like my friend's basement. We'd dive off couches at each other and like throw tennis balls and shit. But it's like they kind of had like a sort of backyard white trash-ish kind of arena set up with like rope or something. Can you just kind of explain what happened here?
All right, so we have a sweet ass compound that like any motorcycle club, you have chapters, right? So the chapter that we were at in Florida, they have a sweet ass compound. It's all fenced in. We got a stage. We got multiple bars. I mean, this is a nice setup, right? And
is compound the right word to use? I feel like it's associated with
the liberal media has declared any place where guns or God or multiple buildings are present is a compound. So yeah, it's a compound. But so of course, it's a predominantly veteran MC, mostly combat event. So we're wired for shenanigans, and the first thing we do is we kind of do a lot of the combat sports you did in the military. The boxing, the wrestling, the pugil sticks. So pugil sticks are a part of basic training. It's one thing you learn. What they're trying to teach you is sort of the principles of like bayonet fighting, right? So part of your bayonet training that you get, you have to go through like a course where it's always uphill. The whole fucking thing is uphill. And you have to go run at these fucking targets and ram the fucking bayonet in and pull it out of the target and take off up the hill, And part of that is pugil sticks. So you have these, you wear like a boxing helmet and these thick gloves. And then you have like this stick. It's got these, they look like they're nice and soft. They're really not. They're like, it's like your kitchen countertop with an 1/8 inch of vinyl over it. And you go out there and just hammer the crap out of each other and, have a good time, right? So we did it as, in the military is bayonet training. And then in this, now we just do it as like, more than a few folks out there. I mean, there's a lot of us that don't drink. I retired from that long ago, but a lot of folks still do. So everybody gets out there, gets a little liquored up, and we go out there and wail on each other. But our boy took it. He got really exerted. It was a lot of heat, and a lot of other things going on. And then he ended up like, dude, we gotta go to the hospital. And next thing you know, he's like, yeah, he had a heart attack. Holy shit, way to party. So it was a good weekend. But that's the kind of shenanigans that we
always a good
like
weekend when somebody has a heart attack at the party.
Yeah. Scott, you do have a crackle on your microphone.
Yeah, I don't know what I could turn it down another percentage. Let's see here.
I don't know if it's
Mike,
static. It sounds like a bad connection rather than clipping or a volume issue. It just sounds like a bad connection.
I think it's on your end. The reason I say that is if I set the thing where I can hear my own mic feedback, it's crystal clear, and I don't. It's a Wi-Fi, a USB mic right into the computer. There's no cords, cables, nothing.
I'm not getting the same from Mark though when he talks.
I don't know what to say, man.
It's because it's smooth like butter.
Let's see, sound. The only thing I can think of is if it's overdriving it. But how's that? Is that any better? Any different?
No. Can you hear it, Mark?
I can hear the crackle.
I don't know where it's coming from. It's
Definitely
all
something.
pervasive.
I only hear it when Scott talks, so
Yeah.
that's all I have to say about that. Okay.
Don't know.
Do you have anything else you want to add for your month wrap up?
Well, yeah. So anyway, good time down there, but it's just a lot of because you got to go God, was it 1,400 miles, and of course with the motorcycles you're stopping every 2 hours for fill up the tank and get back on and go, so it's tiring to say the least, but a good time, so I had two of those things back to back, and then work and all kinds of other shit. But so anyway, I look forward to actually playing some Death Stranding, and the other game of the year that I'm anticipating is the Ghost of Yotoi, or however the hell that is, and that's coming out I think in October. So I'm going to take kind of the slow roll on Death Stranding 2, and I tell you what, the first one you really had to play it. You had to play it through multiple times. When you played through the first time, you're like, okay, what the fuck was that? And then, you go from there. So I think it's going to take a while. And I think it's going to be maybe 2 playthroughs. So hopefully that takes me up to Ghost of Yotoi, and then that finishes out the year, because apparently only 2 premium games a year is the most that you can possibly ask for. So. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Okay. I'm going to jump around a little bit. So let's see. I'm going to start off with some of my TV watching. I started watching Severance season 2. I really kind of enjoyed the first season. I thought somebody that kind of likes sci-fi and stuff like that, it was unique and interesting. Somebody that works in an office. I like kind of the visual aesthetic. Season 2 came out. It's just been a bit slow, so I've been slogging through that kind of slowly. It's not really keeping me on the edge of my seat like the first season, so I'm gonna try to finish that one up. And as far as movies, I went to the theaters to see 28 Days Later, the day that it opened. Or I'm sorry, 28 Years Later. And I can't really give too much feedback on it. I do like the first movie. The second one, not so much. I've seen all of them in the theaters. I was a big fan of certainly the first one. And the second one, I fell asleep about an hour in. Just been kind of exhausted that week. And, next thing I know, I'm kind of waking up as the credits are rolling. So gonna have
I think the novelty of the first one that I liked. And, all zombie movies have certain sins, and they certainly repeated every one of them. Where they clamber over the 6-wheel drive, up armored diesel vehicle to get to the taxi cab, and that ridiculosity. Oh, do we get these machine guns? No, there's a rake over there. If we use the machine guns to prop open the shed, we can get to the rake. Just idiocy, pure idiocy.
Yeah.
But what I did like about it was like when they first encounter this stuff, like when they go in that one church and the priest is there, it's just human rabies. And it was so well done. Like you picture a super rabid animal. So that's what I liked about number 1. Number 2 was just a goofy retread. So with that in mind, for somebody that maybe, had that perspective of it, how would you characterize number 3?
Like I said, I fell asleep about an hour in, and there was just like kind of a lot of dialogue, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody. And like I said, I only got about maybe 45 minutes or so before I kind of dozed off. I usually lay off the carbs, but I bought popcorn. I don't think I had popcorn in probably 4 years or something. So I started eating popcorn. I think the carbs just knocked me out, man. I'd been working out and played volleyball 3 days that week. And it just whacked me out. So can't give you my final thought. When it comes to video, I'll certainly check it out. But been doing a lot of traveling. Was just at the USA Volleyball National Finals. My daughter's team made a bid, which is a really high honor. They were out of like 20,000 teams. They were ranked like 600 something in the nation. They did really well at the tournament and came in. I think they're going to end up the year like maybe 108 in the country for 14-year-olds, which is really interesting. I hadn't been to Dallas in probably about 10 years. Not a big fan of Dallas, to be honest. It's sort of this giant sprawling city that doesn't have a whole lot of interesting stuff. I mean, you got the AT&T Park, you got where JFK was assassinated, the 6th Floor Museum, Delaney Park. We kind of did all that. We did the Terry Black barbecue thing. We went to the Pioneer place where they have all the bronze cattle. We spent most of the time in the Kay Bailey Hutchinson, massive convention center. So saw some friends I know from around the country down there, had some decent barbecue. Don't recommend Dallas as a place that you really need to go. We went to the old train station and kind of did some scooter riding, went up to SMU. That area of town's a lot nicer than kind of the center city or historic. The old Red Museum's closed right now. I guess they're going to be reopening that and converting it back to a courthouse, which is kind of interesting. But, man, the first day we were up there, we were riding those rental scooters. And you're not supposed to ride on the street, but you're not supposed to ride on the sidewalk. You're supposed to drive on the street. But usually we love whenever we go to a new city and we're playing volleyball or whatever, we're traveling. I love getting the scooters or the electric bikes. I just think it's a great way to kind of see the city on your own. And we were flying all around, and I usually ride sidewalks just because it's safer for me, and I think it's it can be kind of dangerous on the streets. Well, there was a part we came up to where the sidewalk was kind of chipped up and there was like some cones and stuff. So I dropped back down on the street. My daughter dropped back down on the street next to me, and there's kind of like a train car rails that are on the street there, and her tire got stuck in the grooves, and she flipped off the scooter and had like total road rash down her leg. And I was like, fuck, man, we just spent $2,500 come here and go to this tournament. You're about to play for like a national championship and you're all fucked up. But she actually bounced back pretty good. So that was good. So on the trip, I got to put my Abernic RG 405V, I think it was. Is that what I have? To the use. Played tons of different games on it, focusing a lot on the MAME kind of action. And speaking of action, really loving elevator action returns. Man, I really loved elevator action. Never really played elevator action returns for whatever reason. Has a lot more going on than the original. It's a great little shooter, and just been kind of playing through, trying to do it without doing continues, so I can kind of make it through the third level without a continue right now, I might just try to just beat the game without quartering up and stuff like that. But I've really enjoyed it. I would say I have really big hands. I have basically like 10-inch hands. So for me, at least, I find that the vertical is a bit uncomfortable. I probably would recommend having the horizontal version of the Abernic, but it's cool. I might end up tossing mine on eBay and buying the vertical. It is good for traveling and stuff like that. The highlight of the Dallas trip was probably watching a hooker pull down her miniskirt and piss on the sidewalk 25 feet in front of us one evening. Just have to get on my soapbox a little bit.
Takes off the distance just to be sure.
Yeah, just have to say, like, I don't know what's happened to American cities, but at least since I don't know, maybe the world changed after 9/11 or something. But it is bad in Charlotte, it's bad in Savannah, it's bad in Jacksonville, the whole West Coast. I mean, everywhere I go, I do a lot of traveling now between
Why the fuck you think I'm buying a farm?
work and volleyball, and I was pretty excited that Trump was elected, and he said he was going to do a lot of stuff, and I kind of liked some of the rhetoric, but I'll be honest, like, I haven't seen much change. I feel like we need to take care of our own here to some degree. It's just sad when I was a kid and you saw homeless
He's
people
being resisted at every turn, and that the cities are fostering this sort of behavior.
Well, I'll just say this: when I was a kid, you saw a homeless person, and generally speaking, it would be a guy with a beard, and he was like staring at the sun, whistling or something. You're like, all right, something's off there. He has a mental health issue, or something's not quite right. But now you just see these young folks that are drug addicts, and they're dangerous, and it's a growing problem.
Gives them a fucking place to shoot up, and when they get arrested, they turn them back out the door. That's what's got to change.
Yeah, and it's sad. Like, I mean, Dallas is a great American city, right? And it's kind of dangerous to walk around downtown Dallas because there's people shooting up fentanyl. We were in Philadelphia a few months ago, and there was literally a guy bent in half like a zombie. And it's also sad that people, like, I'm guilty too. I walk by, like, you just walk by and you ignore it, and he's like a fucking zombie just standing there bent in half on fentanyl, and you walk by, you don't acknowledge it, and it's sad. And I don't know what the answer is. I know it's a really complex problem, but I just feel like, hey, this is part of my outlet, and it's a sad state. It really is. I hope that we can change that someday soon, because we should be able to walk around our great cities and kind of feel safe and not have people homeless
and bricks at cops. That would be a pretty good opener for maybe people to look at their own decorum there.
Yeah. Also, we had the Heroes Con here in Charlotte last weekend, and I went to that with my daughters. Usually it's Father's Day weekend, and usually I'm at a volleyball tournament, but for this year it kind of lined up. So haven't been doing much on the comic buying, been kind of still unloading a lot of my collection, kind of whittling it down, but I think I've mentioned this before. I am kind of a fan of the EC comics, which are the 1950s kind of horror sci-fi comics that were burned during the Congress seduction of the innocents and all that other stuff, where they were saying these comics were, poisoning the minds of children and stuff like that. So I picked up Weird Science Fantasy 21 and a Tales from the Crypt 46. Weird Science Fantasy 21 is penned by Frank Frazetta, who's a pretty famous fantasy artist. Really love the cover. It kind of looks like Sigourney Weaver shooting a Attack from Mars kind of alien, and she has a giant camel toe character on the front. And then the Tales from the Crypt 46 is a giant werewolf on the cover, which I love. And that is the last of that comic book run before it was discontinued because they said it was too dangerous for children. And pretty scarce comic because it was a low print run. So happy to find both those in a 7.0 and add them to my collection. Definitely a win for me, considering how rare they are. And then finally, kind of fly back to the beginning of the month. I had tried feverishly a few months ago whenever they were announcing the Nintendo Switch 2. I literally had 3 screens up, 2 computers, the app on my phone. I had Walmart. I had Amazon. I had the GameStop app open. I had Newegg. I had everything. I had everything open in every goddamn browser and started hitting the refresh button at noon as soon as this shit was dropping for pre-order, and every fucking website crashed. I thought for a second I was going to pull through on GameStop, but then it kept clunking out on me. When I did it for the PS5, I was able to secure 3 of them actually, which was great, but was not able to get a Switch 2. Was kind of bummed. My daughter's approaching teenage years, and I know that our time together is coming to an end. You know, I think we all fire our parents one day, and it's it depends on you know, how do they hire you back one day? Is it in a limited capacity? Is it in a full-blown capacity kind of thing? I mean, I know I fired my parents, right? So it's something that she wants to play with me. We really enjoyed the Switch. So, you know, I was willing to pay up and get something off eBay if I had to, just because I know it's that time that I get with her, and I can't get that again, right? So I was lucky the day that it dropped. Tracy went to Costco the morning that it opened. I said, hey, look, by chance, you're not working, why don't you go to Costco? Because a lot of these kids that like camp out at Walmart and Target and shit like that, a lot of these people don't have a Costco card. They're not going to camp out at Costco. You know, like that's more like older adults and stuff that probably go, their families. So why don't you go to Costco right when they open, walk in, see if they got one. And sure enough, they had a full display. She was able to just pick one off the shelf. She could have got 2 actually, but she picked one up. We got the Switch 2. Came with the Mario Kart bundle. And we got a Pro controller. I'm going to kind of complain here. You know, I think usually I'm the one that defends the digital stuff quite a bit. You know, and I think me and Scott have gotten a little contentious over some of the Steam and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm usually the one advocating that, you know, we've sort of solved the immortality problem with, you know, digital products and stuff like that. But this one really fucking pissed me off. I felt like this was a total and absolute money grab from Nintendo. Get home, my daughter was off from school. School had already ended. I told her, look, just wait till I get home so I can set up the accounts and link them, and we can move everything from one Switch to another. I don't want to blow anything up, because I read that if you mess up the transfer, there's no going back, which is crazy too. So get home, open up the box, all the shit, and I'm looking for the SIM card for Mario Kart. Well, guess what? They don't give it to you. They don't give you a SIM card. They give you a card for a digital download, which is absolutely ridiculous. They could have just stuck the goddamn SIM card in there. It probably would have cost $1 for them to produce it. And no, you get a digital download. So it was the first day. Now, I don't know if it was Dave or Ian in the chat. They said that their download went quick, but I got home about 4 o'clock and started working, plug it in. It was probably going by 4:30. We had to leave for volleyball practice at 7, and it still had not finished downloading and updating everything it needed to and installing Mario Kart yet. Like it was probably about 4 hours for that shit to finish. Absolutely asinine, ridiculous that it didn't come. I mean, you pay all that money and you get a fucking code. So what am I going to do? Can I sell the code? Can I do anything with that? That was a Thursday, so we didn't really play it until Friday, and then I think we had something going on all day. We had some other shit going on Friday, stuff like that. So Sunday was when we finally, got to kind of sit down and play a little bit in the morning, and then we kind of waited around for the mall to open. We decided, and my daughter was like, "Hey, let's go to GameStop. We haven't been there in a while." And I was like, "Yeah, let's go see what's up." We could download some of these games from the store, But why would I do that when I can just go right down the road, buy a physical copy of it, have it forever, resell it, whatever. So we go down. The first GameStop, and we live in a really nice area, had been broken into and all the windows smashed. So they were like gated up and stuff. They were closed till further notice. So we drove to the mall, the big mall here in Charlotte, and went to the GameStop. And I think I sent some video in one of the chats. And I mean, it's kind of creepy, man. Like this is a giant GameStop in the most popular mall in, I don't know, the 15th largest city in America. And it's like a fucking ghost town, man. There's like, I mean, it's mostly Funko Pop shit. There's a very little section of Nintendo stuff. The largest section was PS5. There was a little small section of Xbox, whatever Xbox stuff. And just a whole bunch of garbage, like, you know, like Sailor Moon backpacks and shit like that. But I mean, there was very little games. It was
It's
bizarre.
become like hot topic for 11-year-olds.
Yeah, and I mean, really, there really wasn't much used stuff there. There wasn't much new stuff there. I mean, it was a little tiny rack. I mean, honestly,
And it'll be gone.
they could have.
You know, we end up in this fix. How we end up with a store that literally sells Funko bobbleheads until it goes out of business, because sooner or later you will go by there, that store will be boarded up, and it will not be there. The way we end up in the fix, where you got a fucking download code, no tangible product that doesn't work out of the gate, and years later, you know, you may or may not have access to it, and a marginal increase of a product marketed as a whole new product, is because when that e-store appeared, we didn't go, no. I said no. I didn't buy one fucking game out of that e-store. And the message I tried to send to Nintendo was, oh, guys, the e-store's a bomb. People don't want to buy digital goods. They want physical. Then we wouldn't be in this fucking fix. But
Well,
now we're in this fucking fix.
You know, and the thing that I thought was weird was, why not be a store that celebrate, like, and I don't know. I'm sure that you can come up with a way to make margin on old stock, but we still have a PlayStation 4 plugged in. We might even have a 3. I think we have a Wii U. I mean, we have all kinds of shit plugged in all over this goddamn house. And I would pick up something for an older system. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of games for the PS4 that I haven't bought, and if they were affordable and it was an impulse purchase, I mean, sure, I'd pick something up, or play it in my PlayStation 5. But there just wasn't even like old stock there. It was just kind of like games that were maybe within the last like 2-3 years, and the most modern systems. So just seems strange. Honestly, you could have replaced all that shit with a couple vending machines full of games, and it would have been probably an easier experience. You probably could have just done that. And then here's the kicker, right? So we went in. They had literally 0 Nintendo Switch 2 games. 0. All they had was a placard on the wall that was maybe 2 feet by maybe 3 feet by 4 feet, something like that. And it had little like pegs and little cards dangling off of it that were digital codes for fucking downloading games. So why would I go all the way to the mall, like, which is, 15-20 minute drive, to go in there to buy a digital download code that I could just buy on the fucking thing that's already in my house? It makes absolutely zero sense. It's not cheaper. It's the same fucking price. But I would go there to buy a card that I scratch off to get a code to come back home, download the same game that I could have bought out of the goddamn store that's on the machine anyway. Makes zero fucking sense. The only place that
Gamers had collectively said no. If gamers had looked at the e-store and said, I know where this goes, it goes to the experience you just had. That's the end result. It's inevitable. If people had said no, the store would have, the same thing with these goddamn self-checkouts and everything else. If the market had said no and not spent the money, Nintendo would have said, that's a fucking dead end, boys. Let's make some, let's pump these carts up and do something nice.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fucking pathetic. And more
It's
importantly,
inevitable.
I wonder who is the fucking idiot that thought that they can make money off of this? Like, really? Is somebody at GameStop's like, look, guys, like, we're going to get a 20% margin on people coming in here to buy this card to scratch it off so they can go back home and then download the game, even though it's already at their fingertips on the store that's built on the thing. Like, what? Like, it's it's terrible idea for business. And you're right. These will be boarded up in short order. I have no doubt about it. I hope they continue to make physical product. I mean, really, the only place you can find that now, it seems, used physical product is sort of a peer-to-peer network, right? So eBay, Craigslist, swap meets. There are some independent game stores, which, you know, I highly recommend that you support to keep this stuff going. I do highly recommend, you know, I think all of our listeners, it's like, hey, you know, if you can, please buy the physical media, even if it's newer product. Like, please continue to support physical product. Do not go buy these downloadable shits. Like, it's ridiculous. Now,
don't use the e-store, although that ship has probably sailed.
Yeah, it's a really sad state of affairs.
Well, this was again the inevitable result.
The Walmarts is the only place that we have found, and I'll wrap up the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff. I know I'm going kind of long, but you know, it just really feels like a money grab. The other thing,
it's important stuff. This is this we you know, retro gaming roundup listeners and hosts and all. Many of us have some level of collections, and these are physical things that we paid money for, that we keep, that we enjoy on our own terms. And I don't think we can put the toothpaste back in the bottle. I think that collectively we absolutely fucked ourselves, and now this is what we get.
Yeah, maybe this stuff lives on eventually in, you know, emulation or something like that. But you know, shame on Nintendo.
Ultimately, there'll be no executable code, though. What you're going to end up with is a remote, like a VNC. You're going to end up with a video network, you know, terminal where it's like remote play.
Right.
That's the next stage after they eliminate the physical media, is they stop just sending code to your thing. So Nintendo will hoard that code on their servers. You ain't going to get it. And maybe it leaks out, maybe it doesn't. But no more collecting, no more games. When they say your experience is over, it's over.
Yeah. You know, like, it's, here's the other thing that kind of chaps my, like, I have supported Nintendo my entire life, basically, right? Or like my parents did, and then I did, and I've bought most Nintendo systems. I've bought a lot of their games. I've bought some of their handhelds and, like, you know, the classic re-releases and their swag. I've watched their movies. I've been a big fan. I know that they're a little heavy-handed with the lawyers and the lawsuits and stuff like that. But as a businessman, and, you know, I understand the need to protect your intellectual property and things like that. So I get it. And I know some people feel like it's a bit heavy-handed, but you know, I've always kind of respected it. This just seemed like an absolute money grab. Now, there's some companies out there like CD Projekt Red, which is an absolutely amazing company. You should absolutely support them. They put out stuff like Cyberpunk and The Witcher, and whenever they do updates, it's free. They said they give you so much free stuff. They continue to update their games years down the road. They give you so much free content. I mean, they're really for the fans. And people support them because of it, right? And Nintendo, it's like, man, I bought all your Zelda. I've bought every single Zelda game. I've bought some of them multiple times. We love Tears from the Kingdom. I thought Breath of the Wild.
What have you bought from me lately?
Well, I love Breath of the Wild. Look, and if I'd only had the Switch to play Breath of the Wild, it would have been worth it for me, because that's how much I love that game. I thought it was such a great Zelda. And then they got Tears from the Kingdom, which was just like blew that away, which was fantastic. And I mean, the time, and this is me getting sentimental, that I got to spend with my daughter playing that an entire summer, it was special. And I love that game. I love the time, like what we got to do together. It's kind of like, you remember couch gaming with your buddies when you're growing up or whatever. Like, to me, this was another one of those kind of things where I'm like, I will always remember playing through Tears of the Kingdom with her and how much fun we had, late nights and all that during the summer. So we still play it. We still kick the tires on it every once in a while. And they released it in 4K. So you're like, hey, if you have it, you can now play it in 4K for $10. Really? You could have just given me that code and I would have said, you know what, Nintendo, you're badass. Like, you're a great fucking company. Like, thank you for doing that. And I would have, like, that would have been really cool. Probably cost them next to nothing, right? They could have just given you that upgrade. But no, you want to play it, you can play it on the system. You want the 4K version? You want the 4K capability of the new machine? $10, please. Like, come on, man. It really felt like a money grab.
Even though the introductory video to the Switch 2 was, or the game or whatever app, whatever you want to call it, wasn't that like $7 or was it more than that?
I think it was $10.
10. But like,
Yeah.
give people that for free. Show them how to work the fucking thing. No, you got to pay for that.
Oh no, I think that game's 20. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was 17. So 17.50 or something like that.
Yeah,
Some
so they don't give
stupid
you
number.
a Wii Sports, and like I don't remember the Switch coming with anything either, to be honest. But no packing game, so to speak. Like, no tech demo, nothing. You want the tech demo? Like, basically their tech demo was like $17 or $20, something like that. We didn't buy it. I was like, no, hell no. I was so infuriated that they don't even give you a free fucking demo.
Sadie would say, "That's okay, son. I've got your money already."
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's really no reason to own one, is my opinion. Mario Kart is great. It's if you're a Mario Kart fan, I think you're really gonna enjoy this one.
It's way different than the others.
No,
what I've seen people saying about the Mario Kart though is there's just too many people and it's too much. Like, you can literally be in third place, a few corners away from the finish, and then you get hit by, like 8 people's weapons, and you just end up nowhere. That doesn't seem fair.
We haven't played a whole lot of online, other than, and this is why. So we mess around, played the online one night, and I did it, and I think I came in like 7th or something like that, and then I raced again, maybe came in 5th. My daughter was like, bet you $50 that I can come in first time. And I was like, all right. And I bet her she was going to do some chores, or I'd give her $50. And son of a bitch, she got first place. And I was like, motherfucker. And I was like, I'm not betting you anymore.
This is the same one that creamed you for a new iPhone or something, wasn't it? A couple of months ago.
Yeah, man.
You need to stop making bets with this kid.
It's
kid's
like
a savant.
a gambler, like, showing up at the casino. Yeah, it's like, I'm like a gambler showing up at the casino, like, hey, I'm just going to buy some chips. I'm not going to actually gamble on anything. Yeah, every time, man, she gets me. So I learned my lesson. But anyway.
Hey, Dad, that's a real nice car. You want to flip a coin for it?
Guess a number between 1 and 10. No, I'm sorry, you're wrong. I'll take the keys now.
I'm sure, like, the Metroid game will come out, and it'll be probably so good for me that it will be worth the entire purchase of the console, or some Zelda game. That there'll be something. I am a huge Nintendo fan of some of their main titles. I think they do make fantastic games, but reason to go out and buy this thing today? Absolutely not. I don't recommend having it. It was cool because it was like the last week of school, I think. So it was like a little bit of a flex for my daughter to go in and be like, yeah, we got the Switch too, which is cool. But anyway, that's all for me. Kind of long-winded. Let's get into the news.
Let's get into some news. Like I said, we've got a ton to go at. We will probably roll some over for next month. But the first one was from Alan Hedgerus, and it's a retro ruler. It's on Kickstarter. It got funded. They were looking for £1,708. They got just over 2,000 by 42 backers. And it's a ruler. Imagine a ruler with a micro SD card in, a screen, a D-pad, and some action buttons. It's like, like who needs a ruler that you can also play games on? I mean, okay, but it's just the weirdest combination of things.
Once upon a time, there were certain novelty gadgets. Like, you remember, like, say, pen radios? Did you ever have one of those?
I had a pen radio, yeah.
Dude, that was kind of badass. I mean, there were some cool, multifunction gadgets like that. This is not one of them.
No. Let me just measure this, then I'm going to play some Mario. Yeah.
Freaking Nintendo. I'm still annoyed at them.
One here from Gareth Hamer. The retro computing renaissance. Why old tech is new again. This is an article on xdadevelopers.com. Let me reject all the cookies. Thank you very much. It's either a long article or there's loads of ads at the bottom. But let's see what they're saying. The innovation keeps racing forward, yet a growing number of people are deliberately stepping back. And they show a screenshot of a lot of old laptops with VGAs, parallel ports, that kind of thing. Are they proposing that you install DOS or do something on these? But it's just an article about people picking up old technology, which is something that we all do, and you can read that at your leisure.
So I got one here that's odd, shall we say. Gareth Hamer sent it in, and Super Mario 64 can now play Minecraft, thanks to a mod that recreates the 2011 Sandbox game. Yeah, so it's a pretty long article, actually. And they have a video attached, so you can go check that out in our show notes, as always. But, yeah, they ported in the world generator into Mario 64. So, okay. And it says here, developed completely within the SM64 engine and can run on a real 64 console. All right.
One here, again, from Gareth Hamer, who knocked it out the ballpark this month, it has to be said. Certainly the early part of the month. I'm just scrolling quickly down the mailbox. Yep, it's a good old solid Gareth Hamer month this month. This one, after 17 years, this retro gaming YouTube channel has a theme tune, and it's composed by Yuzo Koshiro. And it is the YouTube channel Happy Console Gamer, run by a guy called Johnny Millennium, and has been for 17 years. And he's got a new theme tune from Yuzo Koshiro, who worked on a lot of Mega Drive titles by the look of it. I couldn't name one of his games, but I'm guessing lots of people know who he is and what games he did.
Got one here from Mr. James. It's how the 1990s Magic Eye 3D images were made, and it is a YouTube documentary on it that explores how NE Thing Enterprises came up with the Magic Eye pictures in the 90s. Man, I certainly remember walking around malls and seeing those pictures. I don't know anybody that actually ever bought one, but certainly remember staring in front of them. I remember there was like some books and posters and stuff like that kind of went around.
Yeah, I got a book of them one Christmas. There was a year or two when they would just seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know if like maybe my my brain doesn't work, or I don't. My sister did one of those DNA tests or whatever, and we're like almost 3% Neanderthal. So maybe that's why I can't see that stuff or something. But
you got a prehensile tail as well.
Explain the knuckle dragging.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, but yeah, I could never see that stuff. Can you guys see that stuff?
I can, yeah.
It takes a little while for me.
Yeah, a few seconds, just relax your eyes. Once you get used to doing it, it's kind of like you never forget how to do it. You just like look through it into almost like a few centimeters behind the page, if you can imagine that, and then it will just slowly appear. And then once it's there, very hard to get rid of it.
Huh. Maybe I'll have to revisit that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that thing when it popped up just somewhere randomly, and it's a neat thing to take a look at because God, what am I thinking of? The software, yeah. So the company sold a version of the software, and there was just so little documentation. I mean, it's kind of nuts how they went back and sort of discovered the backstory of it. So definitely a cool thing to check out. Another cool thing to check out is from Gareth Hamer. The 8080 CPU runs on a modern FPGA. So it's funny. I've seen a lot of resurgence of people getting, the 6502s tied to a Pi. So they do the actual processing on the 6502 and then use the Pi for the rest of it, But, yeah, so the 8080 is now running on FPGA. I just honestly assumed it was a long time ago, so I didn't notice that. But good news. I think in a while that I think what we're going to see before too long is some very accessible non-coder FPGA toolkits where you'll be able to go in there and build build systems just by defining these are the components. This is how I want it to work. I think we'll see stuff like that soon. So anybody could design a Coleco Chameleon at that point.
90% the way there. Another from Gareth Hamer, and I thought this was a typo at first, but it isn't. Free play gaming arcade on Portland to close this month, and I thought, does he mean Portland? Is it, Clay's place in Portland? But no, it is on Portland, which is an island just off the south coast of England. And yes, a free play arcade is closing, which I don't know if they get a huge amount of foot traffic there, to be honest. I mean, obviously Arcade Club have got 3 venues. There are other venues. Craig's involved with the place in Walsall. There are lots of others up and down the country, so if you put them in the right place, they will survive. But maybe this one just didn't get enough passing traffic.
Okay. Got one in from Charlie. Is Charlie new? New listener?
No, don't think so.
Okay. Hadn't seen Charlie in a minute, but yeah, so this one was the PS2 case design came from Atari ? And I thought this was interesting. So he points to a little quiz on TechSpot, and it talks about the Atari Falcon 030, something. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it is. It was debuted in '92, and it was
It's Intel. I'm sorry, Intel. It's got the
Motorola.
Motorola
68030.
Yeah, thank you. Which was one of the faster chips. So the original 6800, Mac, Amiga. So that was used in Macs. It was used in Amiga. It was used in all kinds of stuff. But that's a pretty fast version of the chip.
So this was the final Atari that was put out there before they quit competing, and it was developed internally as the Microbox, and the chassis was sort of a bold move at the time, being a horizontal desktop case, and it was sleek and minimalistic, and looks pretty badass, to be honest. And then here it says in the PS2's official industrial design patent, they do make several references describing the ornamental design to the Atari. So pretty interesting. I thought the PS2, when that thing came out, man, like that was wild, right? Like it was just so different from anything else you had seen because it stood on its side, and you're like, what in the hell is this? Pretty cool. Thanks, Charlie. Good
luck, Charlie. If you know, you know. one from Gareth Hamer. Scientists can now 3D print robots that walk out of the printers that created them. But then they don't show you anything on this article other than a little piece of plastic and a paperclip. So basically they're 3D printing a robot and then they hook it up to compressed air and the whole robot is powered by compressed air and allegedly walks away, but there's no evidence of such. So I don't know. Pinch of salt, maybe.
I think it's a stretch.
Yeah.
It's like an Alex Jones story. There's a kernel of truth there, but a lot of embellishment.
Yeah.
So got one here from Gareth Hamer, and it is a list of 10 ZX Spectrum games released in 1990. And, it's funny how many of those systems, like the Commodore, still had releases coming out. Some of them on the store in the U.S. in 1990. Some of those Commodore games were still hitting the shelf. And it was crazy. When I moved to Germany in 93, they had, still tapes on carousels in toy stores. It was nuts. But, some of those late release games were pretty good. And in all fairness, some of them were pretty bad because it was just shovelware to sell dollar discs, But, here they make mention of Turrican. I didn't realize it was that late. And you know what? I was saying that some of the games are pretty bad, some of the games are pretty good. SimCity for the ZX Spectrum looks damn credible. I would say, because I had this black and white, well, not black and white, it was a green screen, Tandy 1110 HD. It was a PC XT laptop that I bought in 1990. And it's I still collect them to this day. It's just a cool laptop. But I played the PC, DOS XT class version of it. This looks as good or better than the DOS version. Time Machine, pretty good looking. Turbo Challenge, of course, that was not so bad on the ZX Spectrum. Emotion, Monty Python's Flying Circus. I think, despite the wonky color palette, a good-looking ZX Spectrum. And in fact, two of the best-looking ones on the ZX Spectrum, whoever did this list did their homework. Impossible, which just looks almost like an NES game, except for the weird white character palettes. And then Ivan the Iron Man Stewart Super Off-Road. It's a damn credible version of it. It just looks good. Last Ninja kind of looks like a polished turd. Rainbow Island looks weird and awkward palettes, but can all be winners, but many of them are. That's a system I'm glad I finally picked up a physical one of. It's just it's such a neat thing. It's one that of course we never had access to. You maybe saw a picture or two of it here and there. ZX Spectrum 10 games from 1990.
Speaking of physical, something that a number of folks kind of sent in was the Pinball Predator pinball reveal, and that is by the Pinball Brothers. Man, guys, let's just sit here and kind of high five each other virtually for a minute about this pinball coming out. I've been playing quite a bit of pinball. Actually, I had my team in town for a team building at the end of May, so a month ago, and I took them to Pins Mechanical, and we had a great time. I have a lot of younger team members that I manage, and they had an absolute blast. We did some duck bowling, which is like the mini bowl, and then we kind of grabbed a bunch of fistful of quarters and all played a bunch of pinball games. And some of them had never even played pinball before, and they absolutely loved it. Like, we had a bunch of people around a Toy Story 4 just lighting it up, playing 4 players and stuff like that. But there's some themes that come out and you're just like, I don't know, do I want this game? Do I not want this one? I've been looking to add something. I'm just having a hard time justifying it while I'm paying, saving for college for 2 kids.
Oh, there's a couple of nice ones coming up. There's one, Stern just released one. As soon as I went to say the name of it, it dropped out of my consciousness.
There's a Harry Potter. Was that Jersey Jack?
Nope. No, not Harry Potter. I'm pretty sure it's Stern. It's a new. I gotta go just take a look.
King Kong,
No.
Dungeons and Dragons,
Hold on. I'm going to the
X
site.
Men.
There's King Kong, Dungeons and Dragons, X-Men.
So the D&D does look pretty good.
Yeah.
There's that definitely.
I was
That
not a
definitely
big
looks
fan
good.
of the John Wick. I didn't like Jaws when I first played it, but it's grown on me. I played Venom. I was at Comic-Con when they released Venom. 007, don't care for it. Godzilla, absolutely love. Stranger Things, eh. Jurassic Park, great. So I don't know, like, sometimes Stern's a little hit or miss for me, but man, this Predator just looks so good. Love the original movie. I love how it does like the kind of clicking, like
Yeah.
Predator sound. Has the fucking minigun and everything else. Like I can't wait to play this one for sure.
Yeah, the Harry Potter one was Jersey Jack. That was also sent in to us. See, sent that in.
Jersey Jack games are just like a whole nother level.
It's funny. The Stern has reintroduced the concept of home edition games, and they got the price down to $6,000. Yeah.
Well, and Evil Dead was announced by Spooky Pinball.
I've not seen that one.
Yeah, that looks great. I think they're doing Looney Tunes and Evil Dead. I enjoyed the Scooby-Doo, like the Upper Playfield stuff on that is pretty fun. I've not played the Texas Chainsaw, but I will say, like, man, one of the first times I played Spooky, Scott, I think it was me and you and CGE, or no, Southern Fried Gaming Expo, and that was probably 2016. That was probably almost 10 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And they had one of the early games there, and it felt kind of rough, but man, in the last decade, Spooky has really amped their game up. And I love that we're kind of in like a pinball renaissance, if you will. I mean, there's so much new stuff coming out. It's great.
Yeah, I just wish that.
The prices.
Well, believe me, when they were like, 4,500, it was like, okay. When they went up to 6, it was like, well, I'll be a little more selective. And then when they hit like 8, it's like, I better really like this game. I mean,
bro, they're like 11 now.
Oh, yeah, you can get up to some of those, yeah. But I'm talking like a good solid Stern title. I just, it's a bit much for what you're getting. And I don't think, if you look at the material cost, manufacturing cost, that stuff did not go up that fast and hard. But they're playing to the market they have, and I would like to see a broader home adoption. I'd like to see, now that we have gone from one company that was on teetering on going out of business to having a viable number of companies. I kind of would like to see. I'd kind of like to see more people buying pinballs for their home. I'd like to see it succeed, but not so sure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
It's a big ask for a home purchase.
Yeah.
there's some games that you can get into, like kind of those 70s like to 80s, like William Bally games and Williams games. Like you can get into like a roller games or something. Like there's some games that are still like kind of affordable, and I feel like there's also like some weird collector backlash on some of the newer games as well. Like for whatever reason, people seem to hate Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They seem to hate like Game of Thrones. So if you want like a, like last decade kind of pinball machine, there's certain titles like Venom. People seem to shit on it. You can generally pick up those games for like half of what the other ones go for whatever reason. Maybe, and maybe it's because like the the guys that like the perfect shots and stuff, and like, you know, they're playing in competitions, they kind of like poo-poo some of that stuff. So that's why some of those games are affordable. Like Godzilla just like doesn't go on sale. Like, it's a great fucking game, and you're gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep saying to myself, I don't know what my next pinball is going to be. It's going to be something. Sooner or later, they'll drop a title where it's like, all right, I'm in. I just don't know what that title is going to be. I just don't know.
Could be Predator.
Also, until we get moved, I just don't. You know, I kind of don't really have more space for another pin. I could fit like 2 or 3 more in the pin area, but I really also don't want to have to haul. As I already got to haul a lot of games. I kind of want to not have more. I'm not getting rid of anything. That's just not going to happen. But
You know, right where
yeah,
that Super Hang-On's gonna go, you can slide a Godzilla in there temporarily.
that's a different area. But yeah, we'll see.
One here from Gareth Hamer. Another Doom port to the Atari ST that looks like hell to play. And that is because it's a port of Doom 8088. Apparently someone's been porting lots of different versions of Doom to the ST for some reason, and this is yet another. He followed that up with another joy of digital games, and this is one. It's an article on The Sun newspaper. PlayStation and Xbox game bought by 12.5 million people closes forever in 2 days and will be unplayable unless you upgrade. Well, if it's closing, how can you upgrade and play it? I'm guessing you play it online. What is it? A popular title, blah, 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 blah. It's being totally shut down on select machines later in the year. The survival game Rust has been warned to check their consoles as soon as possible. It came out in 2013, but we play games that came out a lot earlier than that. But they are turning it off. Like he says, another joy of digital games.
Hey, I'm just gonna mention, Scott, I was randomly looking at eBay and saw a Super Hang-On that has to be picked up in West Virginia working for $750. So I just sent you a text.
All right, I wonder who that is. If it's anybody I know.
It's the guy next door.
Well, actually, funny enough, one of the dudes I know up there is a. Where is he at? Yeah, cool. I'll look into it. Thank you very much.
Gareth Hamer again. Any indie fans? Yes, there are. I'm currently playing through still The Fate of Atlantis. This is a list on denofgeek.com. Indiana Jones games ranked from infernal to magical. Now, sometimes these things are good, and sometimes they are a sales pitch for the new one. But the new one's been out a little while. Is that Circle of something or other? Let's see what they say. Temple of Doom from 85 is in 12. Young Indiana Jones from 92 is in 11. The Last Crusade, which is the point and click, is in 10. Indiana Jones and His Desktop Adventures is in 9. Staff of Kings is in 8. The Infernal Machine 7. Lego Indiana Jones 2 in 6. Lego Indiana Jones the original in 5. Indiana Jones Greatest Adventures on the SNES in 4. The Fate of Atlantis in 3. The Emperor's Tomb in 2. And there you go. Sales pitch for the new one. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle from last year in position 1. Haven't played it. It does look good, but haven't played it.
It looks good. You know what? If I can, I'll look and see if I can find it used, and maybe I would play that one.
Yeah.
I have never played any. Like, I love the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I love the first 3 movies. Let me say that. And then the rest are shit. But I've never played a game that I love. Like, none of them. My roommate in college was like savant with like the Nintendo one. and he was like so good at it, and I don't understand how. Like, but he generally sucked at video games, but he was like, that was the one that was like impossible. You know which one I'm talking about?
Is it the platformer? There's a platformer,
Yes.
isn't there? So
Yeah,
you've got to sit down and learn that because the map is quite big and you just forget where you're going and get lost. It's not like you can put it down, go back a week later and remember where you are. You've got to learn it a bit.
he was only good at like 2 games, and it was like that and Rygar. He could like beat both of them, like just like cruise through them. And he played a lot of Diablo too. But yeah, like I didn't get it. I could like that was like always one of those games like I wanted to love. Like, oh man, Indiana Jones, fuck yeah. And I just wanted to snap my controller after 5 minutes, you know.
No, the point and click ones are good sense of humour, some good puzzles, and they look good and play well. But you don't like point and click, so nah.
Not a fan of Harrison Ford these days either. He's kind of gotten weird.
Tiresome.
And old. He's like 80.
Yeah, they keep trying to put him in action movies. I tell you what, that Indiana Jones where they just humiliated him with that chick dog walking him around was just fucking disgusting. Absolutely horrible. Oh,
there
Mark,
was
hang on. I saw that one because I have like the eBay searches. But believe me, eBay search is imperfect. So, I there's stuff I go in there and search for that I have a search already done for, and it finds it, and the auto search didn't, do it. But anyway, they had that is the stand up one. I'm looking for the ride on version.
Oh, dude, like you're never gonna. That's so rare.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I've been collecting since like 1996. I still don't have one.
Yeah, I don't even know how many of those exist. Oh,
Well, I can tell you
I
one
forgot to
isn't.
say something else about my my monthly review. So can I just? Sorry, I'm like
Yes.
all over the place. Yeah. So
okay,
I
it's the
go to the
drugs.
gym. I play volleyball. Like hang out. I'm in the public. Whatever. Going to the glory hole. No, I'm just kidding. I got fucking scabies. Like, my significant other works in the hospital, and she's been exposed to it a couple times and had to come home and like slather up with like permectin or whatever, permethrin, like from head to asshole, like everything between your toes, like some kind of fucking. And like I always felt like scabies was like something you joked about when you were like in middle school. You'd be like, "Yeah, I hope you get scabies, bro," and like no one really knew what it was. But it's some kind of mite that like buries into your fucking skin. So I had this and I went to some like conference, marketing conference in Tampa, and I stayed in this like old 70s, I don't know, golf resort or something. And I was down there, and like it was kind of musty in the hotel room, and it was like, oh, I don't know. But anyway, I'm out there, right? And I started getting this like little rash, like little bumps and stuff. And I planted my backyard. I have like, I have a garden. I planted figs and raspberries. I have lots of raspberry bushes. I planted them a couple years ago, and like they've just overtaken a large patch. So I've been kind of trimming them up, and there's some poison ivy that comes through there, and I'm highly allergic to poison ivy. I used to get it as a kid all the time, and honestly, as I've gotten older, I feel like when I get exposed to it, it's not like when I was a kid. I think my body's maybe built up an immunity to it or something. I mean, I used to get it in the wintertime, like running through a patch of woods or something, and get some poison ivy from sticks or the vines. But so I thought it was poison ivy, and I put some cream on it and everything, and it started itching, and it would itch really bad at night. And I'm looking at my fucking hand, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? So go to the doctor, and they're like, yeah, dude, you got scabies. I was like, oh fuck. So I had to take this like permethrin cream treatment and everything. I've taken it twice, and it was still kind of on the back of my hand, so had to get some ivermectin, the shit that everybody said during the pandemic.
Horse dewormer.
Horse dewormer. Yeah, so just really, and kind of in a way like a little embarrassing, like being out there and like having this like kind of shitty rash, like looks like boils or zits or something on the back of your hands. Don't know where the fuck I got it. Like, I'm a clean person. I wash my hands, and
Allegedly.
Sure.
like
sure.
it's not like I just always thought like, okay, like you're
How's
banging
the scabies going?
Yeah. Like, hey, like I was I banged a hooker in
Pretty
Calcutta
sure
and got
some
some
vaccine
scabies
on it.
But like I didn't know it's
Rub some
considered
COVID
like
vax on it.
it's actually considered like an STD, which is crazy. So I don't know. Like I had to have the embarrassing.
Well, it would be if you rub one out.
I had to call my boss and be like, "Hey, bro, like, sorry, man, can't come to the office for the next like 48 because was diagnosed with scabies."
She got your old office. Did a lot of backslapping and
Yeah, shaking hands.
Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah, here, let me just rub that in your crotch.
Right.
real quick.
Yeah, crazy, man. Like no idea where it came from. I suspect maybe at the gym, or I play in a rec league of volleyball with like a ton of people. So
Almost.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
That was Charlie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'll catch you later, guys.
Hey, Phil,
Anyway.
little horse.
It's not fun. And,
Why the long face?
They were reluctant to give me. They were very reluctant to give me the ivermectin. So this is just like a public service
You're
announcement.
not going to use this instead of vaccine, are you, sir? No. Okay.
Come
Well,
on, man.
because it's not
COVID.
really FDA approved in America to give you that for this, but like they can if it like the permethrin gel doesn't work after the first like 2 treatments. So, and it's crazy. Like you have to like wash all your clothes, like disinfect, like everything. Like
fuck that.
it is a
I'll put it with the itching.
no, but I mean it's a pain in the ass. Like
That far.
change your sheets on your bed every single day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like change your towels, like constant, like you wash
Wash
your hands.
y'all stinking ass.
But I mean, like, look, like I leave a hand towel in my bathroom for a week before I change it. You know what I mean? Like you use it once, toss it in the wash. Like it's a pain in the ass, man. So if you guys ever, for whatever reason, experience scabies, just get the ivermectin.
One of the biggest nightmares I had was when Raven came in one day and she had fleas. And they'll live out in the garden, in the soil and stuff. She came in, brought them in the house. It was a fucking nightmare getting rid of them. They're literally everywhere. Like you say, wash your bedding every day. You got to keep her trapped in the kitchen where it had a hard floor. Don't let her anywhere near carpet, and just, treat all your carpets every couple of days to catch the life cycle, and put what's it
because,
called? Diatomaceous earth down that kills them, along with flea powder, and then hoover it up, and then do it again the next couple of days. It's fucking awful.
Yeah, because you put this gel on and it kills all the active scabies mites in your skin, but their eggs don't hatch for like another 7 days, so then they can hatch. And then you hope that you catch it. Like, the whole thing is like hoping to catch the life cycle and shit. Like, it's a fucking nightmare, man.
Yeah.
So
Awful. One here, back to retro
good.
items from Chris. Makes a change from Gareth Hamer. Zelda Game & Watch SD card mod. And this is the Game & Watch Legend of Zelda. And he's looks like he's made or 3D printed some parts or a new back for it, just to make a bit of space in there. And he's put an SD card mod in. And it's a YouTube video, so I'm just skipping through it, just looking through the detail. But he's got like a front end on there, almost like a emulation station, going through some Game Boy games. So I'm guessing he's got, some sort of RetroPie on there or something.
I mean, it's got a nice screen, nice processor. It can definitely run NES era, stuff. So
yeah.
The only real question is if I saw correctly, because I looked at this briefly when it came out, that it works on the Zelda but not the Mario, because the Mario I think is missing a button that you need or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, because I have got. Let me check. I've got one right here. I have got the Mario version.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I could do that. I wouldn't do that to mine. I'd buy a second one.
Yeah,
But,
if this is your only one, you might not want to get
goodness,
into
you know,
this.
I gotta open this. It's not like I play it often. I bought it just because of the sheer novelty of it, and it's a nice. Hey, Nintendo, nice physical products people will
Yeah.
buy.
How many buttons are on the Mario
Um,
one?
I'm looking right now.
This has got a D-pad, A and B, select start, and 3 other buttons.
Yeah, I'm shaking it out right now. Let's see. Wow, this thing is not easy to get back out of the box. Okay. It has. Look at my readers. Hold on, old man. Here, gotta get my readers. D-pad, A, B, pause, game, time. Yeah, it does not have select. That's, if I recall the comment correctly, it's that you have to have the select start.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 2, and Ball. So I would love to get I'd love to get a hold of the Zelda. I could see getting the Zelda and modding that, but good looking little thing, man. It's done in the style of the original, and
they do look good.
good screen. I mean, Nintendo just killed it with that. And no digital download required. So, got one here. Let me see who submitted it. Want to give him credit for always. Gareth Hamer again. Thank you, Gareth, for all the great submissions. Now, this one is a Pico Mac. So somebody took a Raspberry Pi Zero and 3D printed a little mini Mac, and they're running the Mac OS on it, and it looks gorgeous. So it's actually a really good deal that if you want to assemble one, right? Obviously, that's not that damn difficult. But if you don't want to bother with all that, or you're not, really into the whole printing thing or whatnot, for a very reasonable 56 pounds, he sells an assembled version. And then for 78 pounds, he's got a box collector's version. So you figure a little shipping, $100, $120 for a boutique item like that delivered to your door. That's, I think, people should be throwing the money at him. Not, like.
Not literally like
injury,
coins and shit.
Oh, I mean, maybe fold it in a paper airplane, make it fun. But, I absolutely love this. So I'm not a huge Mac collector. I've got a number of Apple IIs. And then I've got like a Mac SE and a Mac 512 and a Classic. I got a couple. But, hey, Mark, you're Mr. Mac. Why, is this something you would buy? Why have you not ever gone back and gotten a Classic Mac? I don't see how you don't have one. It seems like the thing you would do.
You told me years ago to you gotta go get a Classic Mac, and you know what I have like a bucket in a spare room that's filled with like old vintage computer shit, and I have like all these old Mac things and stuff, like Mac games. I don't even know if like the cartridges would still work on it, but I've looked at getting a Mac 512 multiple times.
They have with my Mac SE, I think it is. It's a Mac SE. I've got the accelerator and all that stuff, so it doesn't run like an SE. But I've got the SCSI to I believe it's SD, maybe compact flash. I haven't opened it up in years because I don't need to. But they make replacement drives where you just stick in an SD card. They make hard drives that you can it's a solid state replacement for the hard drive. So it's really not difficult stuff to do. You can have a great system.
I'll probably buy one. Here's the thing with me, man. I have never, much like yourself, I think all the hosts on the show can say, we have probably never said in our life, I'm bored. I am not somebody that sits around and watches fucking, like cooking shows or reality TV. I have more shit to do in my life than I will ever fucking accomplish. Like I have so many goddamn projects and shit half done.
Great working Mac. Set it on your desk. Maybe a cool model. Yeah, I tell you the Mac I'm after that I'm waiting for like the right one, to sort of pop up. I'm not chasing it, but I will buy one when I find the right one. When I say I'm not chasing, I'm not like, it's not like a holy grail, but it's one that I'm looking for. Is the Quadra 840 AV. And when I
Ooh.
first saw this thing, have you ever seen one?
I had one growing up.
You had an 840 AV.
Is that the one with the CD player?
It had it has like a rack of BNCs on the back for video in, video out. Basically, it was Max Amiga is the best way I can, big tower. This was a premium Mac. This was like the equivalent of like what you buy today, for your jobs and stuff. Like you buy a premium Mac. This was whatever, like right now, whatever the hottest shit Mac is that you can possibly buy, that's what this thing is. Of 1990.
The board is just full of chips and slots and all sorts of expansions.
I
Way
think we had
overdone.
a Quadra 950 is what I had.
Yeah, the Quadra was a big series, but that 840 AV was just a jaw dropper, So
I had a 950.
well, sooner or later I'll find one, but dude, this would be like, this would be a cool novelty for you to have like at work or something on your desk. But man, you should get like a classic Mac, because I got the Tandy 1000HX, the looking at it right now, the Commodore 64, and I have those PCs like right here on the same console as my main Linux PC, and it keeps them in use. Like you actually use the stuff, and all the tech exists today, especially for the IBM based stuff, where whatever memory, hard drive, whatever you want to access, whatever display standard you want, everything you want. Now, with the Mac, obviously built-in display, it's a very easy to fix monitor. It's a comfortable system to approach as a collector. But
And now I'm looking on eBay, and there's like this guy had like the whole thing, like the mouse, the keyboard, the HyperCard, everything. It's working. Perfect to write my manifesto on.
oh yeah.
We have a Lisa in the computer museum that runs. We've got the original hard drive, but that's the noisiest thing you've ever heard, and it takes like 2 minutes
It's
to.
like an MFM 5 1/4.
I feel like George R.R. Martin, that writes Game of Thrones, like he writes on some like ancient.
He has I think it's a 286 or a 486. No internet, nothing. So he's got no distractions. Saves all his work to I think a drive in it and a floppy, but he has no internet access on it. So he'll literally sit down in it. Nothing's popping up. Nothing's happening. Just sit down and type.
Something nice about that.
Yeah.
Still can't manage to knock out a book.
Come on,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
Let's go.
the Lisa in the museum, you
If
fire
you-
up the
if-
hard drive first, and it takes a couple of minutes, and then you boot the Lisa, and it shows the drive as a boot option. But we've got a solid state alternative now, like an SD card, just so you're not stressing that old hard drive out.
So, Mark, if you go on eBay and look around, I would say don't rush in and buy the first thing. And you're not going to spend a lot of money. Just spend a little extra for one that's already been gone through. That has maybe a recap monitor. Because let's say you're going to go out and buy that solid state drive replacement anyway. So when people put those mods in, they tend to not really make all their money back on it when they sell it later. So it's really the best deal out there. Is to just buy a Mac that's already pimped out that you can just take out of the box, put on your desktop, and you'll use the thing. I mean, as a Mac aficionado, what could be cooler than that?
Yeah, so like something people always tell you in graphic design and marketing, they're like, when you get feedback from like somebody in the C-suite or something, they're like, I don't know what I want, but I'll know it when I see it. Or they'll say like, yeah, can you just like make it pop a little bit more? And that doesn't fucking mean anything, right? Like I've never in my life figured out what does make it pop mean. So we're moving into this new office actually the second week of July, and it's badass. Like we're on a top floor, we're overlooking the city. We're putting in a kegerator. They're gonna have like a whiskey bar, like pinball, shuffleboard, all this shit, right? And I made a like a preserved moss like kind of piece for my office, and then I got neon lights and it says "Make it pop." So I think having a Mac 512K kind of sitting in there too would be kind of cool in my office. I'm right next to the CEO. I got kind of badass spot, so I might have to pick one up.
Make it pop. It's like going in a guitar store and there being a sign, "No stairway."
Yeah.
So a couple of quick fire ones from Gareth Hamer. Someone is modding Grand Theft Auto San Andreas so that it restores all the deleted and unavailable at release content for some reason. Another one, someone has remade Need for Speed Underground 2 using the Unreal Engine, again for some reason. And someone else has hacked Portal 2 to turn it into a web server for some reason. They've hacked the Source engine and Portal 2 to run a working HTTP web server. There's someone else who will never use the sentence, "I'm bored."
Well, here's a doozy. Game Boy Camera has a manager now. So, little article here, it says, a Game Boy Camera Manager opens in your browser and allows the Game Boy photography aficionados to import and export pictures they've taken, as well as adding. Where the hell's Random Dave? This is his shit. This is his jam. How is he not here?
Apparently, he's got better shit to be doing. I don't know. Don't know what that could be.
Yeah. But, no, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool looking. I like it. Not anything. I'm not a Game Boy camera guy. I just wouldn't have one. It's not a thing for me, but I do appreciate the cool factor.
Got one in from David Gyrich. Classic 1993 Star Wars X-Wing gets a new life with Unity Engine mod, modern graphics, and new enhanced controls, dynamic music, VR, visual upgrades to the beloved classic. So, yeah, it's been available on Steam and Good Old Games for some time. I remember last month, May 4th, they did the whole May the 4th be with you. There was a ton of sales and stuff like that. But the new X-Wing virtual machine is now available in alpha, and it allows Windows and Linux players to play the classic with some new kind of upgrades, and they're pretty jaw-dropping. I mean, it's a significant upgrade. Looks fantastic. Gamepad mode introduces, new radial menu and some other things that they got going on. So you can do VR. Looks fantastic. I just kind of say hey man, instead of a mod, can you just make this like a modern thing? I think it was Battlefront 2, which is probably goddamn 20 years old at this point or close to it. That was one of the last ones I remember playing, in the space and everything. That was pretty good. But yeah, this looks really nice. If you just want to do kind of the sim X-Wing kind of thing and fly around and fight cruisers and everything else, nice little upgrade. So go check it out.
Yeah, Mark, I was just thinking actually with your office setup, that Mini Mac, I don't know if he provides a HDMI port natively, but it would not be a challenge to add if he doesn't. You could just have a HDMI cable over to another monitor on your desk and display the vintage Mac on that right next to your work stuff, and then have the little Mac facing forward, with the screen. So there's some possibilities there, some neat stuff.
Oh my God, I'm in the process of hiring right now. To take a little sidebar, one of my associates was like, "Hey, I want to move to another city and be closer to a family member," and I'm trying to be a little, private about. Fantastic young lady. She is an amazing person, super nice and everything. Here's the thing: comes in at 9:30 most days. Leaves at 11:30. She's maybe back by 1:15 or something. Usually out of the office by like 4. So I feel like I'm getting like 30 hours of work a week out of her. And like when she approached me, it was like, yeah, so I'm just gonna be like a remote employee, and I was like, like she's a year removed from graduating school, and I feel like you got to learn to build a fire, before I can send you off into the wilderness with a backpack kind of thing.
Yeah.
And her skill set's just not really there, and the production's not there, and the technical expertise, like fantastic human being, just not really somebody that is, I need high performers or people that look to solve problems on their own without having to be given instructions on everything. And so I'm looking at this as an opportunity to bring in somebody new that maybe has a more advanced skill set, or a skill set that's more aligned.
Or a work ethic.
Yeah, work ethic. I mean, that's part of it, right? And like we do a lot of cool stuff. Like
You're needy relatives.
Look, like we play pickleball as a company. We go out to lunches. We do all these things, and like I guess she doesn't normally participate in things. You kind of want people that do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
I don't want to work any place that has shit like that because I want to avoid that shit like the plague.
That's fine too. But as long as you're,
if you're doing your job, that's fine. You get a pass.
Yeah, look, you work hard, play hard, right? We all can kind of agree with that. And
That's one of the most dangerous phrases in hiring. Oh, we work hard, we play hard. The play never comes. It's the work.
Well,
Yeah.
it does here, and like I said, if you're showing up at
She took it literally.
9:30, leaving at 4, taking nearly a 2-hour lunch, I'm just kind of questioning like how hard you're really pushing your foot on the gas, kind of thing. So, and then on top of that, I would say the work is acceptable. I wouldn't say there's anything exceptional that I see. So I'm just kind of like, what, this is an opportunity for you to, move along, and we can find somebody else. Man, I've had in 3 days 178 people apply to this role. Wow. And it's just been pretty crazy, to be honest. Like some great candidates, some great options, and then just like some total weirdos. So like we have the system, and you got to like go in, and you can like vote them up. You can vote them to screening process. You can reject them. I had one guy applied, and he had like, maybe close to 10 years of experience. And this is more of an entry level kind of role, like maybe 1 to 3 years experience kind of thing, right? I would take somebody fresh out of college to up to 3 years, and the salary is commensurate to like that sort of range of experience. And this gentleman applied that had like 10 years experience, did a whole bunch of like computer programming and like C# and all this other stuff. And this is more of like a marketing, graphic design kind of role. So I rejected the application, and then he wrote like a total nasty clapback. So I get like, my email is hidden, I guess, but for whatever reason, I can see the responses if somebody responds to the automatic email that we send them. So like, we have some kind of like canned email, like, thank you, but we have other candidates that are, more closely aligned with the needs of the business, like good luck in your job search kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. So this guy wrote back, he was like, fuck you. I know you didn't really read my fucking email and my resume and all this shit. Like wrote this like total fucking shit stream diatribe. So I responded back to the guy. I was like, no shit.
Well, allow me to retort.
Yeah. Boy, did I make a mistake on skipping you.
Like,
you seem like a reasoned
like,
chap.
Because, it probably comes from some weird email string, and it's like, sorry. And he responded back to it and probably think, like, nobody's going to ever read this or whatever. Yeah. So I read it, motherfucker. And I wrote him back, and I was like, it's a small business community.
He gets a reply from no reply at.
I sound a corporate douche.
Yeah, so I wrote him a whole thing and was like, I can understand your frustration, but like, I explained to him, I was like, look, man, like, yeah, I actually read your thing. Like, you are not aligned. And, oh, by the way, like,
You're still an arsehole.
yeah, obviously, I'm glad that I would have hired you anyway because, like, it's evident from your clapback. So just, maybe public service announcement. Like,
Yeah.
you get one of those automatic rejects and you're frustrated. Maybe you're in the middle of a job search or something. You're like, fuck you. I didn't want to work at your shitty company anyway, asshole.
Yeah.
Like, somebody might actually read that and respond back to you. So be careful.
Yeah. And pass your name around. You're dead in this industry.
You never shuffle graphics in this town again.
Yeah.
I will cast you down with the doodlers. You'll be teaching junior high art class.
Oh, dear.
So, got one here from David Gyrich. A rare game has been preserved. Not one I've heard of. Tripitaka from Eastern Mind. Not sure of it. Not sure at all.
She was
but,
the woman off Monkey. You remember? Did you get the TV show Monkey, the Japanese TV show?
No context at all. Apparently, it runs Mac OS 8 game, and so I guess that's now available.
Yeah, we got in the early 80s, maybe late 70s, we got a Japanese TV show over here that was all dubbed, and it was based on Japanese sort of mythology and history. There was a female character in there. He was a Buddhist monk called Tripitaka. One here from me. Wizards of the Coast announces a publishing agreement for D&D games with Giant Skull. So Wizards of the Coast is the company who own Magic the Gathering and now D&D. I don't know if they always own D&D, but
it was originally TSR and then became Wizards of the Coast much later, and
yeah, so they
lost
now
interest after the Blue Books.
yeah, they now own the rights to D&D, and they are going to produce some video games. Well, Giant Skull are going to do it with, an agreement, a license. And there's a quote here: "Our goal is to craft a rich new Dungeons and Dragons universe filled with immersive storytelling, heroic combat, and exhilarating traversal." So,
Mike, I thought you were going to say grift.
they're going to grift some D&D games.
Our goal here is to grift.
Did you? Yeah. Did you ever? Did you play Hero Quest, the board game?
Sure. In fact, so there's a couple of board. I'm not a giant board game guy. Like, I mean, I got nothing against them, but one series of board games I had to freaking have were all the video game, like the Mario, the Zelda, Pac-Man.
Yeah.
I freaking love those. The arcade, video.
Arcade ports.
Yes, thank you. Into board game.
Yeah.
Plus, there's one that I just suddenly blanking on the name for it, but you go through an arcade and you have like a little arcade machine that you put different cards in and play different games and all. Absolutely gorgeous. But two of the ones on my hit list are one called Mall Madness, because it's just such a great snapshot of the late 80s mall scene,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd ever play the thing. It looks like it's made for teenage girls, but it just looks cool. It's representative of the era,
Mm.
And then Hero Quest. I want to get one of those because that's one I always saw in the store, and I never really played it, but
yeah. So I went back to the video game versions. There was a C64 version, and those 8-bit computers have a very credible version of it that's very close to the board game. And they have a copy of the board game in the tabletop club I was talking about at the top of the show. They have a complete copy of it there, but you go on eBay and look for a copy of that game, you're paying close to £100. So I don't know if it's more available in the US and cheaper, but over here they are.
You're gonna pay for it.
expensive.
It's not
Yeah.
like a $30, and you're paying at least that, if not maybe twice that, for a great copy.
Yeah. If you want to play the game itself, play the computer versions of it. C64 was credible. I played that, but the board game does look good, and you have like a dungeon master who can kind of control stuff, but it's like D&D light. It's maybe an hour at tops to play a board game version of it, whereas D&D can go and go. There's a great video on YouTube. I'll put the link in the show notes. I'll send it to you. It's a guy saying why Hero Quest is the best. It's a funny video. Done tongue in cheek.
Cool.
It's a super game. Hero. Mom, I'm playing Hero Quest.
I got the scabies from playing it. But yeah, got one here that's kind of interesting. It says for the first time ever, a PS1 motherboard not made by Sony is here. Now, wasn't there a feller that designed a small PlayStation for the emerging markets?
A handheld portable PlayStation.
It was a small PlayStation. I designed it for Sony.
I
It had 3
reverse
microns of
engineered.
gold. I used bulk power.
Are you there, John?
Yes, I'm here.
There he is. What was your name again?
Hi, I'm John Carlson.
That's the bunny.
Yeah.
We run a simple windowing system that allows me to move images around the screen using our processor and common USB keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, he is exactly what Mike deserved. Everyone, dude. The more I reflect on that cast of fucking characters between John and Sean and everybody and us for different reasons. Everybody he ran into in that adventure is exactly the right person for the job, for the role they played. It couldn't have been, dude. You couldn't add or take away from that. It was the perfect fucking ecosystem.
Yeah. And while you're talking about that, there's someone just joined us in YouTube chat not too long ago. Jinx K. He said, good to catch you all live. I've been a listener since 2016, which was round about the time this shit was going on. So if you're late 2016, you might have no knowledge of all of that era.
Let's
Weird.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Well, some shit went down. So anyway, this guy built a PS1 motherboard. Looks like he used all, harvested Sony chips on a new PCB. Cool.
Why not?
I got one that was sent in from several people, and if you've been a fan of the show since 2016, you would know my sorrows of backing Kickstarters. Still haven't got the goddamn folding spoon. It's complete bullshit.
There's no spoon.
It's not bullshit because other people have got them. They just didn't back it on Kickstarter.
we may need to have some new monthly segments and stuff coming up, and maybe I'll just do my monthly Kickstarter update kind of thing. But I still back the Kickstarters, and this one was sent in from several. This is from AIM plug and play Time Crisis gun for modern TVs. It's the game. It's the GAIME Gamey something. I don't know. Anyway, some kind of marketing. But Time Crisis, Point Blank, Steel Gunner, all officially licensed. Awesome games, reimagined with new light gun controller, and they had a goal of $48,000. And as of recording, we have 54 days to go, and they have received $543,000. So holy shit, over $500,000. And with the decline of CRTVs, this is a new light gun. So this is gonna work somehow with AI and a camera and some other shit. They're gonna have a ROM in there, and it's gonna work with Linux and all kinds of stuff. And there's all kinds of different packs and everything else, and a goddamn pedal. And I'm gonna throw my money at it. Fuck it, I've had some limited, and then everything's in Chinese or Japanese. I don't even know what the fuck it's in Tokyo, Japan. So I can't even read what the fuck some of this stuff is
Clearly
saying.
Chinese.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna go with the Endgame Premium, which is the gun, some kind of cable, Time Crisis 3, steel gunner, pedal, power cable, HDMI, and some kind of instruction manual. Probably in Japanese that I can't fucking read, but whatever, fuck it. I'm gonna do it for the love of the show and because I hate myself and I always buy Kickstarters that fail. So I it's a coin flip. You know, am I ever gonna get the gun? Is it gonna work? Probably, maybe. Like I'm gonna say 80% chance I get the gun, and it's gonna be a 25% chance that it
Well,
works.
I mean, it's Namco, and Namco is still making games.
Yeah,
So-
but like,
It's
is it
no
gonna?
bobblehead, but
No.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've gotten some really janky shit off Kickstarter, and you know, more importantly, the photo spoons still ain't here. But this looks cool. I mean, if you got some money to throw around, I mean, you know, for $130 or so, you can get yourself one of these things. You can get 2 guns for $206, which is probably what I recommend because, hey man, sitting on the couch, fucking playing Time Crisis with a friend.
Sitting on the couch, fucking.
On the couch, be good. No, I mean, you know, that's one of the things you can't really emulate well. You know,
Mm.
it's true. I mean, some of these games are absolute hot garbage, and you really don't want to go back and play them. But there's a few that are pretty fun, or maybe just once in a while you want to say like, fuck it, I want to play a gun game. You know, and they kind of suck with emulation. So this might be a good way to get us there on modern shit. So. I don't know. Fuck.
How much does it cost you to get in?
Let's see. The very basic.
Because I'm perfectly happy with the Sindon light gun and emulation.
Looks like $87 gets you the basic shit. Like about 90, but like let's just call it $100.
Right. So the Sindon is slightly more, but will play a lot more and doesn't rely on anything from Namco. Which I'm guessing maybe they could turn off at some point.
What's the
But
Sindon
anyway,
cost?
I look
80 or
forward
something?
to you receiving it, playing it, and telling us how wonderful it is. Because that would be good.
4 years from now, hearing about how you still haven't gotten it.
Yeah, yeah.
Either way, it'll
Yeah.
be fun for us.
What's the Sindon cost? $180.
I can't remember what I paid. Maybe 140 with the
here we go.
recoil, so maybe 180 in dollars, something like that. Not
Yeah,
cheap,
it's
and the pedal
100,
isn't cheap either.
$170 for the recoil
Yeah.
edition.
Yeah,
I should just buy that.
definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. And you can play like all the old NES stuff, you know, PlayStation stuff, arcade stuff.
Cop.
It's great. Yeah, make it pop, dude. Another one on Kickstarter. This is the NES Essential. See what they did there? NES Essential Celebration, the 40th Anniversary Tribute Book. They were looking for £3,189, and they are currently over 170,000 with 3 days to go. And they have almost 3,000 backers. So it's a good looking book. I'm not sure I'm in desperate need of another NES book, but there is one there should you choose to back it. And it is definitely funded. Hopefully you receive it. And that one sent in by the absent Dave Lanke. Gone but not forgotten.
Who?
What's his name?
So I guess we got time for maybe 1 or 2 more each. Is that the kind of the thing? Because we think we have more here than we can get to.
Yeah, I think so. I'll take the duplicates out for next month, but thank you to everyone who did send in duplicates, because at the time, you don't know it's a duplicate. Time works like that.
Weird.
So funny thing here, the Philips CDI is getting a new game called Skyways. Space racing game, and the Philips CDI, I mean, I remember when they rolled that thing out, that was, from their point of view, going to be a new, totally new direction, education, entertainment. I mean, it was amazing. Just none of the customers agreed. And a friend of mine his wife at the time was certain their child was going to be a prodigy. He did not turn out to be a prodigy. But she was eagerly positioning him as
No,
a
no, no, no,
property.
wait. What did the child turn out to be, though?
Hoodlum.
Okay. Great.
Future engineer.
I don't know about that, but
Put that back. You ain't gonna be no doctor.
yeah. Yeah. But she, like, I mean, we're all like in the army and like making no money at the time whatsoever. And she wanted to invest in this Philips CDI as a boutique educational tool, right? So maybe that's what started the whole cascade. I don't know.
Idiot.
One here from the aforementioned and absent Dave Lanke. And it is, so you remember the kid not too long ago who sort of crashed NES Tetris, and he was playing, there was a video of him doing it, like with his glove on, just made the game crash. They're going to make a film about him. When 13-year-old Willis Gibson becomes the first person to beat Tetris, his life changes overnight. He's known as Blue Scooty, and the film is going to be called Blue Scooty Tetris Crasher. It's a coming-of-age story about overcoming grief, the power of community, and the rise of an unexpected internet legend. I can't remember. I might be doing a misservice, but I think didn't he have some health issues going on or something, or was he on the spectrum somewhere? I can't remember. I have a feeling that there was something, that made it super special for him to do something like that.
Maybe a good title would be, "What You Talking About, Willis?"
What you talking about? I bet we have listeners who don't know what that means. Well, different strokes for different folks, I guess. Hey.
And there's some weird shit. Remember the episode where the bicycle shop owner wanted Arnold to come back and spend time with him?
That was when that stuff was okay. One here from, can you guess? That's right, it's Gareth Hamer. Watch Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, the official announcer trailer on YouTube. And this is the best fighting games of the 90s return in Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. So I'm not sure which games it includes. Lots of Mortal Kombat games, that's what. And you can watch the trailer at your leisure.
Got one other one here I want to hit before we start wrapping up, and it is the Hackintosh, I guess, is going away. So Apple will end support for Intel Macs next year. Mac OS 27 will require Apple's Silicon. Are they at Mac OS 27 now?
Dude, I mean, they've been off Intel for a long time.
Oh, yeah, no question.
The fact that they've supported this long is quite honestly, like, pretty awesome.
I'm amazed at how many, like, making a CPU family change transition is you're re-architecting everything, and all your new software is different. It's almost a product killer, and Apple somehow survived 2 of these transitions. Going from the original 68K architecture over to Intel and over their own. I mean, just
now they're on the M chips. Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen, I'll say this, like, and I'm not giving, whatever, like, financial advice or blah blah blah, but I see the kids. I see the kids out there. I'm around the kids. I'm cool. I got the brain rot speak, cappuccino ballerino, chimpanzini ballerini. You're cooked. I know all the slang. I'm telling you, these kids, if you don't have an Apple, you don't have a iPhone, you're cooked. You're not cool. You have a Samsung, it's like a poor person with fucking scabies. Like you don't want that. You don't want to hang out with them. You don't want them in your group chat. Like none of it. So I do think that Apple is gonna kind of like kind of continue on. I think like this young generation, like the generations beneath us and everything. Like I think they will continue to buy Apple products just because they like that's what they grew up with.
I think they'll continue to be pretentious weirdos.
Yeah, probably. There you go.
There's one I wanted to mention, which is interesting. Sent by me, Sega reveals a Sega Store Tokyo is on its way. What the fuck are they going to sell?
Yeah.
And like, seriously, what is Sega going to sell in a Sega store? They don't make hardware. They made games. Are they going? Is it going to be like a GameStop where you can go in and pick up, some Mega Drive cartridges or whatever?
You can buy a Sonic the Hedgehog backpack.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what else have they got? I don't want to shit on them because they've made some great stuff, and we love a lot of what they've done over the years. But opening a store. Yeah, I don't know. Don't get it.
They have
Lunchboxes,
some great intellectual property, and they just don't use it. Like they're a fucking gambling company now. Like it's ridiculous.
But yeah, what are they going to do with that intellectual property other than shove it on lunchboxes and backpacks, like you say?
The occasional, successful movie, but
you're not going to buy that in a store.
Maybe there is a time now, and I'm just talking out my ass. It's almost a waste of words to say it, but if Sega were to look at the state of the market, and they were to go, okay, PlayStation definitely doing their thing, Nintendo consistently shitting the bed lately. You know what? We're going back in hardware. We're going back in hardware, boys. And they released a new Sega console. I would freaking almost, unless it was just, a total disaster, I would jump right on that, man. If the Sega did what Nintendo don't, or Nintendo won't, yeah, dude, that could be their thing. Sega does what Nintendo won't. Tired of getting a code for $89? You want to get an actual fucking product? We're your boys.
Yeah.
Just start with like some of your franchises. Like, I mean, I don't know. God, Hollywood would make a movie out of just about goddamn anything. You can't come up with like a Afterburn or Alex Kidd. I mean, you got Crazy Taxi. You got like just so many, like Golden Axe, Panzer Dragoon, Phantasy Star. The hell is the ninja game? Shinobi, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Like all that virtuous shit. Like I'm sure you could make some kind of stupid fucking movie out of it. Did they make Zaxxon? Was that them?
But you're not going to buy that in a store. Why do you need a store in Tokyo for that?
Shenmue. I mean, I don't like. They got some really good IP.
Could be a store that sold forklifts.
Just freaking make a new console, Sega, and hardware, cartridge support, legit. You get the full game when you buy it. Yes, you can do online. Yes, it should have an ecosystem. Totally. But man, I would.
Sounds much like the retro VGS pitch.
You want Bluetooth? Yeah, it's going to have Bluetooth. Yeah, it's going to have that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to have an
Will it play
FPGA
Jaguar games? Yeah,
here.
it'll play Jaguar games.
It'll be the Dreamcat or the Jaguar mold.
Will it hook up to an old TV or a new TV? Oh, good idea.
Yeah.
Yes, it will. Yes, it'll do that.
We're just using the CRT because we don't have composite. We only have HDMI working. They said that.
Oh, dear me. All right, it's time to go. Thank you for the huge amount of news emails you sent us this month. Apologies for not getting through it all, but we did you justice, I think.
I don't even think we got to half of it.
Maybe not, but there are some duplicates in there. I will move those out for next month, and we'll get to those as well as anything new that comes in. Thank you for joining us in chat if you did so. Thank you for listening back to the podcast if you did so. No hardware flashback this month, as Scott mentioned, but all the rest of the show is there for your enjoyment. So
Pusillanimous.
Just realized I never turned off the Azov cam.
no, you didn't. No.
Oh
Yeah.
well, so if you enjoyed my lazy ass cat sleeping,
Maybe that's the reason you're crackling this month. Maybe it's the Azov cam. All right. Thank you to everyone for everything, and we'll catch you next month for something similar. Maybe not more of the same, but something similar. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.